Well, she's the youngest person to graduate from the Advanced Space Academy, and her personal mission is to walk on Mars. Here to talk about that and other weird true facts by Ripley, believe it or not, is Meetyssa Carson. Good morning.
Hey.
I was going to list all your accolades, but we're going to run out of show if I do that. So when did your passion for space travel start?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of been interested in space ever since I was a little girl, and my passion for it has kind of just developed and developed over time. I mean, looking back, we think maybe it all got started with the Backyardigans, which is a TV show on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
It's really the only place we can think of I would have heard Mars, but basically for as long as I could remember.
I was a big fan of Uniqua on Backyardigans. She was my favorite. So, but this is such a specific... And it's one thing, oh, I want to be an astronaut. It's another thing, you want to walk on Mars. Why that specific?
Yeah, you know, looking back, I was interested in Mars specifically. Don't necessarily know why too much. And especially, you know, as I've gotten older, when I was younger, really, the talking about going to Mars wasn't really a thing. It's definitely become more and more of a thing. So now, kind of in general, if I were to kind of continue on the path, eventually becoming an astronaut and that kind of thing, Mars would kind of be the missions that would be going on at that time anyway. So it does kind of work out.
But you don't want to mess with Mars once you're there. Talk to me, we just saw the page that was up there, the aerogels, how that can keep the surface of Mars sort of pristine.
Yeah, you know, there's a whole lot of research going on right now, you know, about what we really want to do with Mars. Obviously, there's so many ideas. You know, some people want to terraform Mars. People have the ideas of colonizing Mars, protecting Mars. You know, there's all sorts of crazy ideas out there. So really, those first missions to Mars are going to be figuring out, you know, what exactly we can do with Mars, what exactly is there, what potential we have with it.
So astronauts, of course, the ultimate adventurer slash scientist. I know baseball players, a lot of professional athletes, even amateur athletes, some people in my profession, they have superstitions. They do things a certain way in order to get the best result. Do astronauts have superstitions like that?
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, so basically, Ripley's is releasing a new book called Weird True Facts, which is full of all sorts of, you know, fun, interesting facts, you know, in all sorts of different categories, but they do have a good bit of space facts in there as well, and superstitions, or NASA superstitions, is one of those facts that's in there that you can have an interesting read on, but basically, you know, some of the superstitions they have is astronauts eating the same meal before launch. You know, they eat steak, eggs, and cake. No matter the time of the launch, no matter what's going on, that's kind of the meal they have. So it is pretty cool to kind of read some of those interesting things that you may not know while reading the Ripley's book.
Well, my 13-year-old's been out of school long enough. I like it if he reads anything, so I make sure he sees this because I know he's not only going to enjoy it, he's going to learn some things too. Let's get away from outer space for a second. Let's talk about some creatures that are right here on Earth that look like they're from outer space. What are these, like moss piglets? What are these things? These water bears? Tardigrades?
Yeah, right, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, the book also mentions all sorts of cool information about tardigrades because they are such a weird but also, you know, true crazy thing that happens here on Earth. They're a little creature that we have here on Earth. You know, basically these are just some really tough guys, to be honest. So basically they obviously live here on Earth, but they also have so many different capabilities to live in basically some of the harshest environments. Actually, going to space, we've actually stuck some of these tardigrades on the outside of the International Space Station, and they have still lived.
Whoa.
So pretty crazy.
Yeah, pretty tough. And I've been reading Ripley's book since I was a kid. Always enjoyed it. Always enjoyed the really offbeat stuff. And speaking of beat, okay? This may be out of your field of expertise. What is it with music and cheese?
Yeah, totally. You know, Ripley's is always bringing, you know, so many facts about so many different categories. And, you know, another thing that they talk about is, you know, hip-hop sounding better because of cheese and all of these random facts, you know, things that you wouldn't necessarily think it's true. So, yeah, it's basically just one of those things where, you know, we've studied it a little bit, and we claim to think that, you know, cheese makes hip-hop music sound better, and so, you know, it's one of those cool things that you can learn about in more detail by reading through some of that.
Well, and it's proof that, I tell my children this all the time, science is all around us. It's everywhere. We are not where we are as a race without it. And I appreciate your race to get to Mars, and we'll be following your career closely because I know we're going to hear great things.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Ripley's.com. We'll put that link on our website, indiestyle.tv.